Proceed about 5 miles to Route 106.
So when stock markets were first opened, to attract investors to buy stocks, they had to be disguised as bonds.
It had a coupon, it was fairly reliable,
Exactly.
and if you had a little upside on the equity,
Exactly.
fantastic.
You can go look at the original railroad stocks. You put a dividend in to get investors who are buying bonds. This is just like a bond with price appreciation. And this is, one reason I'm a little skeptical about people who claim that they do their investing based on Ben Grant's security analysis. It's a great book, but it reflects the time it was
A little dated? Is that
It was
what-
1934. It reflects the risk aversion of somebody coming off the Great Depression and thinks of stocks as bonds with price appreciation. That's a Graham approach to investing. Buy a bond with price appreciation.
Quite fascinating. Coming up, we continue our conversation with Aswath Damodaran, Professor of Finance at NYU Stern, discussing the future of college education.
Just as the cable companies ended up with this unbundling of the product, where people said, you know what, I can just get the channels I want by paying directly for them. That kind of untangled the cable business. Untangling is coming to the education business.
I'm Barry Ritholtz. You're listening to Masters in Business on Bloomberg Radio.
Bloomberg 1130 brings you the names that move markets. Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy.
I'm very concerned about the destiny. I want to make sure that we don't have conflict.
Citigroup CEO Jane Fraser.
The banking system everywhere around the world depends on confidence.
Lyft CEO David Risher.
We're at the beginning of the rideshare journey. There is enormous amount of innovation left.
The names that matter. The news you need. Bloomberg 1130. The Bloomberg Business app and BloombergRadio.com.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Uma?
Yep, switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at Uma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine. With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clear skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Now your 3-day weather forecast on Bloomberg 1130.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies today. High getting up near 55. Looking ahead toward tonight, clearing, low down near 40. Tomorrow, sunny weather for the day. High up near 55. Tomorrow night, clear skies, low 40. And for Monday, plenty of sunshine. Warmer, high near 65. That's your Bloomberg 3-day weather forecast. I'm Susanna Palmer. Now let's get a check of Bloomberg Sports.
Today in the NHL, it's the first ever 16-game day in NHL history. All 32 teams will be in action over the course of 12 hours. It obviously includes all three locals who play tonight. The Rangers are in Columbus to face the Blue Jackets. The Islanders are home for the Philadelphia Flyers. And the New Jersey Devils are in Boston to take on the first-place Bruins. Baseball, the Mets look for 2 in a row against the Marlins. Kodai Senga makes his home debut. The Yankees are in Baltimore. That's your Bloomberg Sports. I'm Seth Everett.
This is Masters in Business with Barry Ritholtz on Bloomberg Radio.
I'm Barry Ritholtz. You're listening to Masters in Business on Bloomberg Radio. My extra special guest today is Professor Aswath Damodaran. He is a professor of finance at NYU Stern School of Business and the author of multiple well-used and highly regarded texts on everything from corporate life cycles to valuations and narratives in the investing process. So let's talk a little bit about academia. You're not the typical tenured professor. Aside from the fact that you've won tons of awards and been voted best professor at Stern over and over again, you're very open source. You have a blog. You're very active on Twitter. Both of these are a little unusual in academia. Tell us why you approach the world that way.
I'm often asked what I do for a living, and I say I'm a teacher. That's my passion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not valuation. It's not corporate finance. I'm a teacher first and foremost. I tell people if I wasn't teaching valuation and corporate finance, I'd be teaching high school algebra.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching is my passion. Corporate finance and valuation are the things that I use to kind of exploit that passion. And that puts me at odds with traditional academia because unfortunately I think universities have lost their core mission. To me, the core mission of a university should be educating the students who go through.
One would think, right?
One would think, but if you're a research university, the mission is muddled. And the mission is muddled because you then get measured on the reputation of your faculty with their peer group and what kind of research they do. And I tell people, if you think about the constituencies a university serves, you'd expect undergraduate students to be at the top of the list, especially at a university like NYU, where our money primarily comes from tuition. These are your customers, right? But if you actually look at decisions made at the university and you look at where undergraduate students fall on that list, they're not even on that list. At the top of the list are tenured faculty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I describe universities as lunatic asylums where the inmates run the asylum.
Right.
And because of that, universities do things where an outsider looks at a university and says, how the heck do you guys get away with this? And I'm going to give away a secret. As a professor at a research university, my teaching load is 3 courses a year. That translates into 4.5 hours a week for 30 weeks a year.
That's pretty light.
That is light. That's it. And once I know you're supposed to keep the extra time for research, but once you're tenured, there's no...
You're landed gentry.
They're landed gentry. And if you think about how much it costs to pay a faculty member who works 4.5 hours a week, then you can very quickly start to untangle why it costs a student $50,000 a year to go through as tuition.
So you're implying it costs 10 times as much as it should if people were legitimately...
If you're just paying for an education, it should be 1/10 of that. And I think that of course, the university education is not just courses. That was the mistake that edX and Coursera made when they first decided they were going to disrupt the education business by packaging these MOOCs. Remember the big online courses that were supposed to change education? It never quite caught on because an education is a collection of things. It's the courses you take, it's the network you create, it's the entertainment value. Let's say you go to Notre Dame. That Sunday football is a big part of your life.
Right.
And most of all, it's parents sending their kids off to a place where they can do stupid things for 4 years and not get into too much trouble. I mean, let's face it, if you have a child the age of 18 to 22, you know they're going to do stupid things. This is peak stupidity.
That's the purpose of college.
And you send them off to a nice college campus. They can do stupid things on campus, and the college kind of covers up. for that stupidity. So I think in a sense you're buying a package. It's like the old cable model. You bought this package, it's going to cost you $50,000 a year, and because you couldn't untangle the different pieces, you paid because you had no choice. I do a session called Barbarians at the Gate for universities. I say, look, just as the cable companies ended up with this unbundling of the product, where people said, you know what, I can just get the channels I want by paying directly for them, and that kind of untangled the cable business. Untangling is coming to the education business. People are going to be able to buy the network. LinkedIn is in fact a very good substitute for going to college and spending 4 years hanging out with people who might never get back to you when you try to reach out to them. So essentially what technology is doing is it's unbundling the university model. And over time, it's going to eat away at the university model. The university is actually contributing to their own disruption. Georgia Tech, for instance, allows you to take courses for a fee. That's a very good job. And it's a good revenue generator, but you're already digging a hole for your own demise as a university, because once you start unbundling courses and offering them, people can start pricing them out. If I'm paying for 5 courses in an MBA, I'm paying $50,000, but you're offering the same 5 courses online for $2,000 a piece. 5 times 2,000 is our 10,000. So what's the extra 40,000 for? Unbundling basically then makes it transparent that you're charging this hefty premium. The only thing universities have going for them that's going to make disruption slow is parents. I mean, if your 18-year-old came to you and said, "Look, Dad, or Mom, I can educate myself by taking all these courses online," most parents are probably still going to say, "That's not education. You got to," because we've been
That's
trained.
not the only point of college.
Yeah, we've been trained. It takes 4 years. You go to university. There's a degree that comes with this, and there's a screening process that goes with it. So I think the reason disruption has been so slow to come to education is because the people who make the decisions on education, which still are the parents, not the kids, have been trained to believe that you have to go to university, go for 4 years to get a degree. But that's going to change.
So let me throw a quote of yours back at you and get some feedback. And I'm very amused by this. Quote, "This will get me shunned in the academic world, but who cares? I don't do academic research or write to be published anymore. Life is too short to be spent writing for an echo chamber and rewriting to meet the often arbitrary demands of a reviewer. I write only on topics that A, interest me, and B, may be useful to practitioners." Explain. Like, aren't you basically thumbing your nose at the entire publish or perish world of academia now that you're a tenured professor?
Yeah, I think there's a degree of hypocrisy there, right? Because I did get tenure, and it was based upon papers that I don't even remember what I wrote them on, right? I mean, that tells you a little bit about what academic research is about. It's as a discipline ages, and this is, I think, key. You have to start to ask smaller and smaller questions to be able to get published. And I'll take the example of physics 100 years ago or more. Einstein and Bohr asking the big questions. How does the universe get created? What drives it? Today, if you look at a physics journal, they're asking questions. You don't even understand the title of the paper because it's such a small question. There are 7 co-authors. That's the other thing that seems to happen at discipline's age, is you use this power of numbers, one of whom might have connections to a reviewer, so you add them on. And they're asking questions that, to be quite honest, nobody cares about, including physicists. Because the question is so narrowly phrased that you say, who really cares?
Well, now that we know how the universe was created, we can't spend any more time on that.
Exactly. Or, but even if you have questions, because we really still don't know how the universe was created. The only problem is you write a paper on it, it's too big to get published because there'll always be loose ends. People are going to pick up the loosest part and say, this can't be published, it's not quite ready to be published. So as discipline's age, unfortunately, the research becomes less and less useful to not just the outside world, but even the inside world.
Coming up, we continue our conversation with Professor Aswath Damodaran, Professor of Finance at NYU Stern School of Business, discussing the life cycle of companies. I'm Barry Ritholtz. You're listening to Masters of Business on Bloomberg Radio.
Powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts in more than 120 countries. This is New York's only 24-hour source for breaking business news and market-moving headlines. Bloomberg 1130. Now, a global news update.
Just under half of Americans approve of the Manhattan District Attorney's decision to pursue criminal charges against former President Donald Trump. A new Reuters Ipsos poll shows 49% of respondents believe it was the right thing to do. Trump pleaded not guilty to 34 felony charges. University of Oklahoma police giving the all clear following reports of an active shooter on the campus Friday night. There were reports that there was a shooter at the Van Vliet Oval, and students were told to take immediate action.
We are very impressed and very proud of the way that we responded, and we're very glad that there are no casualties or no injuries to anyone.
University Police Chief Nathaniel Tarver says it appears the incident may have been a fake call, and there's no evidence of any shots being fired. Russia's charging Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich with espionage. Gershkovich was detained at the end of last month for what Russia said was collecting state secrets about the military-industrial complex. I'm Brad Seaman.
And I'm Susanna Palmer in the Bloomberg newsroom. The U.S. military said today that it has deployed a nuclear-powered submarine in the Middle East in a show of force amid rising tensions with Iran. The USS Florida, capable of carrying as many as 154 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles, began heading to the Suez Canal from the Mediterranean Sea on Friday, according to the U.S. Naval Forces Central Command. The submarine is being deployed in support of the U.S. Fifth Fleet, based in Bahrain, to do what the government said is to, quote, ensure regional maritime security and stability. A Texas federal judge drew several late-night responses for his ruling on an abortion pill yesterday, including from the vice president. The ruling would suspend FDA approval of the abortion pill, mifepristone. Vice President Kamala Harris reacted to the ruling.
This is a drug that the FDA approved as safe 20 years ago and has been proven to be safe for 20 years. So this is a dangerous precedent.
Attorney General Merrick Garland said in a statement that the Justice Department will defend the FDA's decision and file an appeal. The blame and the lawsuits over the failure of Silicon Valley Bank are spreading. PNG was sued as Silicon Valley Bank's auditor, along with underwriters including Goldman Sachs Group, Bank of America, and Morgan Stanley. This in an investor lawsuit based on alleged misstatements leading to the bank's collapse. Similar to previous suits, the complaint filed Friday in the federal court in San Francisco named Silicon Valley Bank CEO Greg Becker and other bank directors and officers as defendants. The complaint appears to be the first to target the bank's auditors and underwriters. Cash in money market funds just reached a new record, but inflows are slowing. We get details from Bloomberg's Janet Wu.
Sparked by customer withdrawals from U.S. banks, more than $300 billion poured into money market funds over the last 3 weeks, helping total assets reach a record $5.25 trillion. But last week saw the smallest gain since the week of March 8th, before the banking crisis. I'm Janet Wu, Bloomberg Radio.
Global news 24 hours a day, powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts in over 120 countries. I'm Susanna Palmer. This is Bloomberg. Now a check of Bloomberg Sports.
In the conclusion of round 2 at Augusta, Brooks Koepka holding on to a one-stroke lead now. John Rahm is encroaching. He's just one back. Sam Bennett is 4 strokes back. Colin Morikawa 6 back. Tiger Woods is a +3, and that is the projected cut. In baseball, the Mets look for 2 in a row against the Miami Marlins at Citi Field. Kodai Senga had an impressive debut for the Mets on the road. Today is his home debut. That's your Bloomberg Sports. I'm Seth Everett.
The business of sports, where the money is flowing inside sports around the globe.
Hi, I'm Michael Barr. It's a potpourri show. We're talking hockey, World Federation Wrestling, and surfing. Yeah, Hang 10 with Scarlett Fu and me in a conversation with future NHL Hall of Famer Henrik Lundqvist. Bloomberg Business of Sports.
Today at 11 a.m. on Bloomberg 1130, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergRadio.com. Or listen on demand wherever you get your podcasts.
Join Bloomberg and Autodesk on April 25th for Design and Make, an event bringing together the world's most creative minds to discuss how their respective industries are responding to a world in flux. Speakers include executives from Inca Group and Intelligent LEA 100. How are those on the cutting edge of design and manufacturing, shining a light on the innovative solutions that can make the world better, smarter, and more sustainable through good design? Learn more at BloombergLive.com/designandmake2023.
Is your firm growing as fast as it should? Commonwealth Financial Network can help you accelerate your growth by tapping into intellectual capital, targeted marketing strategies, and tailored development programs. Everything you need to grow your practice your way. Welcome to your advisor advantage. Welcome to Commonwealth. To learn more, visit commonwealth.com. Commonwealth Financial Network. Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Today, nearly all business is international business. The same goes for business disputes. That's why the International Center for Dispute Resolution provides a faster, more efficient approach to dispute resolution across borders. Backed by the American Arbitration Association, the ICDR is the world's leading provider of dispute resolution services. Find out why global expertise matters. Visit ICDR.org.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A lot of economists predict a recession could be ahead. The latest reading of economic growth in the last quarter of last year did rise, but a little more slowly than expected. The effect of inflation on consumer spending. Alex Partners' Andrew Cicilla says, though, we are pushing back where we can, especially in an area that did see big price increases, food.
They may make trade-offs in whether or not they do organic versus non-organic, branded versus private label.
Alex Partners says consumer goods companies, the ones that produce the things we find in grocery stores, will find they cannot get away with indiscriminate price hikes, and many, Cicilla says, are bracing for a pullback in demand. It's something, he says, that could hit the travel industry next.
If fuel prices go up, that's going to have an impact on travel and whether or not people take vacations, whether or not they go to sporting events.
And that, he says, will impact restaurants as well as travel. So Alex Partners does see our spending habits shifting, but Cicilla says the consumer could end up surprising the experts.
It's ultimately unwise against them.
Joan Donoghue, Bloomberg.